Hi folks. Today's video is going to be a little show and tell of some little mini bobbleheads. This is the 2003 collector series of San Francisco Giants. And as you can see, it's a little display case with the players on a little podium and contained in a plastic box. Now I imagine I'll probably lose some folks because if this is not your team, it may not be that interested. But I'm going to try to make it fun and talk about these players. And maybe some of these players have played on a team that you like if Giants aren't your team. But hopefully it'll be kind of fun and interesting. And as I go through these bobbleheads and talk about the players, I'm not going to go through every stat of that player. It's kind of hot today, so I feel like I'm going to stick to everything. But I won't go through every single stat and great details about every player. I'm just going to give a quick, kind of brief impression of that player. What I remember about that player, having watched most of these players quite a bit back in the day, and what I remember about them, what impression they left me with, what some of their main characteristics and nature as a baseball player. So first, I'll just go through the list of players here, or bobbleheads here. We've got first baseman JT Snow. We got second baseman Ray Durham. I got shortstop Rich Aurelia. Third baseman Edgardo Alfonso. Left fielder Barry Bonds. Center fielder Marquis Grissom. Right fielder Jose Cruz Jr. Catcher Benito Santiago. Pitcher Kirk Reeder. And the manager Felipe Lou. So I'll pop this plastic cover off. It might be a little loud, so there might be an edit required here if it's too loud. Try and carefully lift that off. I'll set that aside. I guess I'll go through the bobbleheads in the same order they're listed on the card, starting with this one, which is JT Snow, first baseman. It's a bobblehead, so of course it's not a super great likeness. Sometimes I feel like these bobbleheads all look alike. But what I remember about JT Snow, what stands out for me was, I think the first thing is just a beautiful left-handed swing that he had. I mean, just textbook. If you want to show a little leaguer what a good swing looks like, just find some clips of JT Snow. He was an Angel before he was a Giant. He had some notoriety on the Angels. I also remember he was quite a good defensive player. Could really shag flies, foul balls, and had quite a extended reach. He could cover a lot of ground and really scoop up those one-hoppers into first to get the out. Now, this 2003 team, if you're a Giants fan, it was bittersweet in some sense because they did win 100 games that year and they won the NL West title. But they lost in the Division Series playoffs to the Fish, the Florida Marlins. So that was disappointing. But they did have a 100-game winning season that year. They were a fun team to watch, at least up until those playoffs. So the second player on this list is Ray Durham. So he's way over here. So I'll grab this one. So this was Ray Durham. He was second baseman. If I recall, he was also an American League player before coming to the Giants and had some notoriety in the American League. But he was a scrappy player, tough, good second baseman. This team was, of course, known for turning double plays, and they were pretty good at it with that combination of Rich Aurelia, Ray Durham, and JT Snow making a lot of those double plays. The next player on this list is JT Snow. I'm sorry, I already did JT Snow. Rich Aurelia. I was looking at his name, and right when I said, for some reason, I said JT Snow. But, yeah, Aurelia was really tough player. I mean, he was gritty. He played a leadership role in this team, other teams while he was playing. And he really was a tough guy, and he could really toughen up when things got challenging. I mean, one thing a pitcher should never do with this guy was brush him inside, because that would only make him more intense. And usually the pitcher paid a price if they did that. So Aurelia was quite a competitor. Not that all major league players aren't, but he was pretty intense. He was a good shortstop and a good power hitter for that position as well. I think he had several 20 home run seasons. Hit 100 RBIs a few times, so good offensive player as well. Now the next player is Edgardo Alfonso. And gotta find him on here. Oh, here he is. And he played third. And to be honest with you, I don't remember a lot about this player. I don't think he was with the Giants for very long. A couple seasons maybe. But obviously he was an important part of that 2003 team, or he wouldn't have got a bobblehead on this collection. And next we come to Barry Bonds. Controversial player for sure. I mean, still a fan favorite. Still a player favorite too. I mean, players still talk about Barry Bonds explaining hitting to them and them taking away a lot in having conversations with Barry Bonds about hitting. You know, he's one of those players that he was a Hall of Fame player before, Hall of Fame quality player before any of the steroid stuff. Since this is a relaxation video, we won't talk a lot about that, but I mean, the guy, no matter how much you may dislike or like Barry Bonds, you have to say he was a good player long before any of that controversy. And he was a good player through all those years, and certainly, like I say, a fan favorite. He was a central figure, of course, in all those years when he was on this team. And, you know, to the point where people even joked about it. That there was even I remember a TV commercial, official Giants TV commercial, that had the other outfielders talking about how they played the outfield and Barry played his little corner. And that's an exaggeration. He was a pretty good outfielder, especially he was really good at getting to the ball and pivoting. Like people always say, he didn't have a great arm, but he could get to the ball quickly and get it into the infield. And he turned a lot of doubles into singles by doing that. But yeah, I mean, people even joked, even the other players and the team itself kind of joked about that there was the inner outfield and the outer outfield, and then there was Barry Bonds' outfield. Still the home run leader of all of baseball. The next player is Marquis Grissom. He played center field, and I singed my hair right there on the candle. That's funny. Maybe I'll move that over a little bit. This guy was fast, a good player, scrappy player. I think it was kind of towards the later part of his career when he came to the Giants. But he was an important add because he was a good all-around player. He was fast. He was a good base runner. He could hit. He was a good outfielder, a good arm, and like I say, a scrappy player. So he was a good Giant. Really improvement on that team. It was a good contribution to that team. The next one is Jose Cruz Jr. And he's another player that wasn't a Giant for very long. I remember him as a tough power hitter. Big guy, big strong guy. But again, he wasn't a Giant for too long, if I recall. But once you're a Giant, you're always a Giant. It's a good franchise for that, from that perspective. They bring these guys back, and do dedications, and get them involved in the community and things like that. So the Giants are a good team. Once you've been a Giant, you're always a Giant. The next one is Benito Santiago. What a colorful guy that he was. Number 33, Benito Santiago. And he played for a number of teams during his career. But like I say, colorful guy, real fun to watch. He threw from his knee as a catcher to, when a runner was trying to steal second. He had a powerful arm even without getting up on his feet. He could whip the ball to first base, try to throw behind a player, and he could throw guys out at second from his knee. And he was a good baseball player for good situational guy. One thing I also remember about Benito Santiago, though, is he broke a lot of bats. That guy went through bats like crazy. But real good player and great baseball guy. Really good baseball guy. It was fun to watch. I still don't have that on there, right? Sorry. It's a little challenging to deal with these little mini bobbleheads. Okay, so that brings us to Kurt Reeder. So this guy was just a great Giant. He still participates in the Giants. He's a Midwestern guy, and but he still comes back to the Bay Area, and every time the fans just love this guy. He was, I think he's still the winningest left-handed pitcher in Giants history. If he's not, he's right up there, but he certainly held that record if he doesn't hold it anymore for quite a while. You know, and this guy threw 86 miles an hour. You know, that was his fastball. A lot of players, you know, said the guy just threw junk, but he still got him out, and he won ball games. And he was gritty. I mean, he got the Giants a lot of wins in tough games where things didn't always go our way, and he found a way to win that game anyway. Just a fun guy. Another thing I remember about him is, you know, of course, this is when pitchers still hit. We didn't have a DH in the National League. And, you know, he was a situational hitter as a pitcher. He could bunt, or he would choke up and try to just pop the ball somewhere, you know, just get the ball out there, get it out of the infield. A lot of bat control. But one day somebody was joking about that, you know, he never hit the ball, you know, barely out of the infield and no power. So he showed him, and he took that he took that choked up off and blasted several balls into the seats during batting practice, just to show guys that he could hit the ball hard and he had power, but he played, you know, baseball the right way and tried to help his team by situational hitting as a hitter, you know, as a pitcher hitting. So he's a real fan favorite. I mean, everybody loves this guy. He's a crack up too. I mean, if you see him in an interview, he's a lot of fun. He's always got something funny to say. Real good guy. And finally, we have the manager, Felipe Lou. You know, and as a kid, I remember Felipe as a player. I don't really know the details of it, but I've heard he was a controversial manager. And I don't exactly know all the reasons why, but some people say he was a good players manager. Other people say he was tough on the players, and I really don't know the answer. You know, I wasn't in that locker room, so I can't tell you about that too much, but I should remember him as a player and as a manager too. I mean, we won a lot of games with Felipe as our manager, so those years were pretty good. We didn't, you know, get a World Series, but we won a lot of games and flew a lot of flags, pennants, and division series under his leadership. So he was good for the Giants, and he's of course a lifelong Giant. Great guy. And for a little while, he managed his son on the team. He came to the team from Chicago for a little while. So that's the all the players on this little 2003 San Francisco Giants collection. It's also maybe a little interesting that this was when the park was still pretty new, and it was still called Pacific Bell Park at that time, which it shows on this little card. Since then, it's been renamed a few times, and there's no such thing as Pacific Bell anymore. That was the telephone company out here back in the day, and that doesn't even exist anymore. Later, the park was called AT&T Park, and now it's called Oracle Park. So that's the little 2003 Mini-Bobblehead. I have an unbelievable, probably a kind of ridiculous amount of Giants memorabilia and bobbleheads and all kinds of stuff, so I likely will have a few more little mini show and tells of some of these Giants collectibles at different times. But I thought I'd do a quick little one of these little bobbleheads. They sit on my shelf in my office. They've been there since 2003. But anyway, hope you had some fun with that. And if you want more, you can obviously look up those players and get more details on them. But hopefully that gave you a little quick idea of some of these players. And maybe if you remember the Giants back then, maybe you had a favorite player. So we'll wrap up this video now. And I hope to see you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.